Hello, everybody. Give me a couple seconds here to get set up on Instagram, as it always takes a little bit longer to go live on Instagram than it does here. All right, we are live. All right, guys. Sorry, I'm a little bit earlier. I had said I was going to do 7 o'clock this week, and here it is 5:30 Central Time. But I found out that my wife wants to go to the fireworks tonight with our kids. So I decided to move this up a little bit so we could go out to eat before the fireworks. So hope everybody enjoys this and has a happy 4th of July. So we are going to start here with a little bit of news, hobby stuff. Welcome in, Packers. What's up? All right, so we're going to start with a little bit. Happy 4th of July to you and everybody else watching as well. I'm going to start out with a little hobby news before we get into some card plays. There's quite a few card plays this week, as it's going to be a 2-part series because I missed last week. Today's, all of them are, spoiler alert, all of them are going to be basketball because right now everybody should be focusing on basketball plays, as this is the prime season for basketball. We are going to cover today raw to grade plays, as well as some by PSA 10 now already graded plays from 2009 to 2016. Next week, we'll be covering 2017 to present. So if you don't see the players or hear the players that you want this week, tune in next week. Maybe you'll hear them then. All right, so hobby news. First thing I want to touch on, coming here a little bit late. This is kind of old news, but having missed last week, I just want to touch on it so everybody's aware of it. Maybe not everybody follows like I do. So Walmart is getting into retail platform to compete against the likes of eBay and Amazon and MySlabs and things of that nature. They hired the head of trading cards from eBay about a year ago, Bob Means. If you remember, Bob Means was on Sports Card Strategy, or Sports Card Investor show with Jeff Wilson in an interview about a year ago, and then he switched over to Walmart. So welcome in, Smalls. We are going to cover some hobby news and then some basketball plays. So talking about Walmart right now, Walmart entering the space. Not really sure what to think about it yet. From the looks of it, it looks like Walmart's going to be mainly focusing on sealed wax. It looks like they're going to have graded and ungraded cards as well. But if you've ever been on Walmart.com website, they already have some affiliation with 2 or 3 vendors for sealed wax, and they have since COVID in 2021 or 2020. I'm sorry. When I go into Walmart.com, I automatically sort by Walmart seller only. I want to eliminate all of these other vendors because they do not have Walmart low guarantee prices like Walmart does. So I'm not so sure that this is going to be that big of a deal. I don't know how much fanfare there will be, but I wanted to make sure everybody was aware of it, that Walmart is going to be getting into the trading card space heavier than they are now. You can sell on the platform. There are going to be 0 seller fees. However, you do have to have a business and an LLC or a tax ID number, that you can't just anybody go sell cards on Walmart. So they are catering more towards the businesses to do that. Hey, welcome in, Chansey, welcome. Target does the same thing already. Yes, I know. They've been doing it, but this is going to be on a much larger scale. Instead of having 2 or 3 vendors, you're going to have literally hundreds of vendors, all very much like eBay trying to sell their stuff. It's going to be a convenience thing because when you go onto Walmart.com and you're getting groceries, you can just go click on the trading cards and add some stuff to your cart and have it shipped directly to you. So there is a convenience factor. I just don't know how big of a deal this will be because those prices generally are much higher than the other forums like eBay and Blowout Cards and Dave and Adams and things like that. So I guess it's a wait and see. Just wanted everybody to know that that is a thing. The other thing that was announced a couple weeks ago, I have not talked about yet, is PSA has announced that for the higher tiers, starting on the 16th, they are going to be including graders notes so that you know how your cards grade when you get them if you spend on the higher tier. I think this is a long time coming. They do it in the comic book. They have been doing it for comic books for many years. It's a step above Beckett's, 4 different grades because this goes a step further and tells you why it got the grade. They are private notes, so only the person that paid to have it graded will see the notes. They are not shareable, so you cannot share. If you go to sell that card, you cannot copy and paste and share it. They are for your eyes only. You can type in the description if you wanted the grader notes so you could tell somebody what it was, but you are not going to be able to share the grader's notes there for your eyes only. I think it's a step in the right direction. I think I would like to see it become a little bit more public than that, and I would like to see them expanded out, but it is a very good first step for PSA. The other thing is today is the 3rd, so PSA has announced their specials for the month of July, and I was hoping for some big grader specials for the National, and I'm not real impressed with any of the specials. I know that they didn't want to do too big of a special because it takes a lot of work for them to pick up a lot of their graders and materials and machines and move them to the National at the end of the month. And they get a ton of submissions from the National and they don't want to fall behind. So I get that they didn't do anything real big. I did think it was a win that they went and did a vintage special. I just wish it would have been something a little bit more relevant. It's more for like set builders because it's only got a $300 max declared value, and it's a 70-day turnaround instead of the 50-day turnaround for bulk. I know vintage takes a little bit longer, but and the 50-day turnarounds are happening in about 30 to 40. So I'm anticipating 70-day turnarounds probably are going to happen in around 50 days. But 2 months to get some low-end graded vintage back, I was a little disappointed with that. I am going to send in a couple of my 55s from my 1955 top set that I'm trying to put together. If anybody has a 55 Clemente or a 55 Hank Aaron or a 55 Willie Mays, those are the 3 cards I have left to complete my set. Feel free to reach out to me, graded or ungraded. I would not want a real high grade, maybe something in a PSA 3, 4, 5. I wouldn't want a 1 or a 2. Prefer raw if possible. But anyways, that is the hobby news that I wanted to talk about. The other thing I'm going to just touch on real quick are some of the moves that have taken place already in the NBA, since this is going to be an NBA heavy live talk tonight. Quentin Grimes switches from the New York Knicks to the Mavericks. I like Quentin Grimes and his game. I think the Mavericks are a good fit for him, but I don't think that's going to be enough to drive his prices, and I don't think he's going to get enough playing time. So that's kind of a neutral switch of teams, and I don't think that's going to help him much. DeJounte Murray to the Pelicans. That is an interesting move. I think the Pelicans are going to have more moves yet. I don't think that he fits real well to just come over and not have other moves. The Pelicans have a lot of versatility. They have a lot of money. They have a lot of draft capital. I think that you are going to see the Pelicans making several moves this offseason, and I think DeJounte Murray is just the first of many moves that they're going to make. Klay Thompson over to the Dallas Mavericks. I don't know. Klay Thompson has not been Klay Thompson for 4 years now. I don't think he fits the Dallas Mavericks system. He's pretty much a 3, no D anymore. Always injured. I'm not sure what the Mavericks were thinking spending that kind of money on Klay Thompson. I know that it really was a couple of second-round draft choices, but it's a pretty big salary. They must be confident that he's back to healthy, but I'm not real high on that move. Paul George to the 76ers. That could be a good move for the 76ers. However, again, Paul George has been declining the last couple of years. I think this was kind of a grasping of the straws for the 76ers. I think they could have done better than Paul George, but it does give them a big 3. I'm just not confident that Paul George is the answer to the 76ers problems. So anyways, that's an update, kind of a current state of the state things. Now let's get into the reason why you watch this, and that is to help you make some money. I have so many of these that in the last video, you guys had mentioned that you wanted me to put the card on the screen because it will help you know which exact card it was. So last time I put in the Market Movers card. The problem with this is I don't know which card is coming up next. So it takes me a little bit of time to find it on my cheat sheet. But I did get a lot of feedback that a lot of you liked that. So we are going to do that again. So without further ado, let's add the first card to the stage and see which card it is. All right, it is the Devin Booker. So the card that we're looking at here is Devin Booker Prism Base PSA 10. Now, I want to make sure that everybody is aware of this. This is not a raw to grade play. This is a buy it, stash it, and flip it play. Devin Booker PSA 10, as you can see on the screen, base Prism. It's down. The last sale was June 30th. It was $115. As you can see on the graph there, this is the lowest sale price. There was one that dipped down to $96 in early May, and then it jumped back to $115. But 110, 115, just under 100, where it's hovering right now. The prices of this card have not been this low since November of 2019. So that card is a very attractive card to me at that around $100 to $120. If they make the right moves, I could see that card jumping up to potentially a $150 to $200 card. So that's a card that I would want you to buy right now, graded. Let's get rid of that card and see what card is next. We are going to add a card to the screen. And the next card is, all right, so it looks like the cards are going in reverse order. So the plays that we're going to be talking about first, there are, I believe, 9 of them. They're all going to be already graded PSA 10s for you to buy, graded, hold, and flip in about 6 months. So these are 6-month plays. And these cards I'm recommending are all because, as you will see on the Market Movers graph, they are the lowest sale prices that they have been in anywhere from 3 to 5 years. So there is a ton of potential. So this next card on the list is none other than Karl Anthony Towns. Cat and the Minnesota Timberwolves made a nice run in the playoffs. I think you're going to hear more from them this year. I think they have a chance at going even deeper, maybe making the finals. This card in a PSA 10 is down all the way to $36. That card has not been this low since April of 2019. So that card has a ton of growth value in it. And that is the next card I am recommending. All right, let's see what is next here. Next card up is a 2014 Prism Base PSA 10 Joel Embiid. Now they went out and got Paul George. Tyrese Maxey was on fire. If Embiid stays healthy, they are going to challenge in the East again next year. This card for Joel Embiid down to currently $95. It's under $100 for the first time since the spring of 2020. I see nowhere but up for this card coming into this next year, as he should be healthy, and the Sixers are making the moves to once again be a powerhouse and somebody in the East that will contend. So I really like that card as well. Next card we are going to talk about is 2013 Prism Base PSA 10 Giannis, card number 290. This card is down to $565. This card did dip all the way down to $495, as you can see on the chart here. $497 on May 1st, and it is starting to inch back up. I expect this card to continue to inch back up all the way to the beginning of the season. I don't know if he'll get a bump from the Olympics or not, but he is playing for the Greece national team. At $565, I believe this card has $700+ upside. This is the lowest that it has been since July of 2019. So Giannis is another player, and this card is another card that I am very high on. So let's get rid of that one and bring up the next one. All right, the next one we are going to talk about is 2012 Prism Damian Lillard. This is a base card. Yes, I know I already talked about Giannis. Giannis and Dame did not work out real well this past year. Part of it because Giannis got injured. However, as a Bucks fan, I can tell you there are lots of rumors that Dame and Giannis have been working out in the offseason together. They are going to do everything in their power to try and get to the finals this next year. Do not count out the Milwaukee Bucks. Damian Lillard's base Prism PSA 10. Last sale was $153 on June 30th. That is the lowest sale since January of 2020. So again, you are seeing 3 and 4 year lows on some of these cards. Some of that is the card market is correcting. Some of that is overcorrection. And with Fanatics growing the hobby, I believe a lot of these cards are going to jump as Fanatics and their card market really start to heat up So I am recommending these cards with confidence for this next fall. The next card up is 2012. You'll notice these last 4 or 5 cards I'm going to talk about are all from the 2012 Prism set. The 2012 Prism set, that's the first year of Prism. It has some great rookie cards in it, and it is very iconic, so it is very collectible. This last one here, or this next one, is Kawhi Leonard, card number 209. Last sale was $106 on June 28th. The last sale, or the last time this card reached this low, was also spring of 2019. So you are seeing a very common theme here, that it is spring. These prices are so low that it is spring of 2019 since they have gotten that low. See some comments coming in. Packers, I'm assuming we'll see the Hoops Redback Giannis on the list, one sold for under 200. No, you will not see that card on this list. And the reason for it is that is a great card to go and get, as is the Hoops base. But the Redback card is so rare that I did not put it on here. That card for under $200, I was watching that card. I had $350 that I was going to bid it up to. I thought anything under $350 was a great deal. One of our members, Mark, messaged me right before it ended, said, "Did you see this card? I'm on it." I said, "I tell you what, I'll do you a solid. I will not bid on this card." But I was willing to go up to $350. He put in $300 and he sniped it for just under $200. It was an absolute steal. I don't think you will see another Redback sell for anywhere near that price. How that happened, I'm not sure, but congratulations to Mark. Feel free, if anybody's watching eBay or looking to snipe cards, always feel free to message me, because if it's one that we've talked about, there is a good chance I am watching it and you might be bidding against me. In a case like this, I allowed Mark to have the card, and I would probably do the same for one of you viewers if we know about it ahead of time. Welcome in Fire Dragon. Welcome in Logan. Hey, man. Good to see you. Derek Hutton. Packers, you missed the Redback. Well, you'd have been bidding against Mark had you seen it. He was going to go up to 300. I was going up to 350. I've got another one on my watch list, and I'll probably end up paying close to 350. Like I said, Mark got an absolute steal. Mark messaged me, thanked me, and said, "Hey, man, I owe you one." But that's what this community is all about, is helping each other out. So keep an eye for that in the future. But yes, I do love the Redback card. Next up on the list is Kyrie Irving. You got the Kyrie Irving PSA 10 base 2012. Last sale July 1st for $135. Kyrie Irving, this card, as you can see, he got a nice, so it was down around, well, right here was where it bottomed out at $96 on July 1st. But this card spiked up with the play in the playoffs, and then after they lost, it's been coming back down. It did get as high as $195 during the playoffs, but you can go all the way back here to see it down around that $100 price range. Once again, it is early 2020. So I think the Prism at or around that $100 to $125 mark is a great buy. I do think that with the Mavericks now making the deep run that they did, that you will see this card have a higher floor than it did prior to the playoffs. So unfortunately, I don't think you're going to see this card back down at around or below $100. I think you're going to have to pay in that $125 to $135 range to get that card. Let's move on to the next card. So the next card up will once again be a 2012 Prism. This is the Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler base Prism, and we are talking about card number 205 in a PSA 10. Last sale yesterday, July 2nd, $75. This card is ridiculously cheap right now. I know the Heat didn't have a great year, but $75 for Jimmy Buckets PSA 10 rookie card, way too cheap when you look at it in comparison to everything else. Now, again, you have to go all the way back to January, February, March of 2020 before you can find this card anywhere near this $75 price range. So this is another card that has a very, very good chance at making you some money if you can snag it in that price range. Welcome in, Shane Graham. Evening, Chad. Brooks Lee got called up and starting tonight. Got a few of my items up on eBay ASAP. Hey, congratulations. Yes, Brooks Lee did get the call tonight or today. He's playing tonight. I am completely sold out of Brooks Lee. I sold out this spring. I never reinvested in him. So I hope you do real well with that, Shane. I have a ton of James Wood cards that I invested heavily in. I've got some of those listed, and I am hoping that he goes on a Joel Nohensky type run here. The Cleveland Guardians prospect got called up and just started hitting bombs. I'm waiting for James Wood to hit a few bombs and his prices to spike, but I am selling my James Wood right now. All right, let's take a look at the next card to share. The next card should be our first card that we are talking about in a raw to grade. Yes, it is. All right, so those were the cards. There was one that I missed, the 2012 Prism Anthony Davis PSA 10. That is down to $90. That is the lowest since February 2019. I'm not sure what happened to the slide on that, but I wanted to make you aware. Anthony Davis base Prism PSA 10 for $90 is also a very, very good investment right now heading into this next season. All right, let's get to some raw to grades. There are probably, like I said, we're going to be talking 2009 to 2016. So there are probably 20 plus cards that I am going to be talking to you guys about. So the first one is 2016 Optic Hollow Jamal Murray. This card in raw right now, as you can see, most recent sale was $15. This card has had 29 sales in the last year. It's got a $20 average, so it's right now a little bit below average as we're in the off season, which is what you would expect. PSA 9s are $40, so even with the bulk grading now at $19, so figure 2021 with shipping both ways, $15 plus $20 shipping, that's $35. A PSA 9 sells for $40. So you are going to break even after eBay fees on a PSA 9. And a PSA 10 currently sells for $52. However, the 1 year average on the PSA 10 is $136. So it is 1/3 the value of what the 1 year average is. That tells you how far this card has dropped, making this card a tremendous raw to grade play right now. If you can find these cards in that $15 to $20 range, the gem rate is 32% on a 10, 61% on a 9. So you got a 94% chance roughly to get a 9 or a 10 and at the very least break even on this play. Packers, glad that Mark ended up with that red back. Smalls is saying sold his only wood PSA 10. All he has left is the low end stuff. Chad Packers is asking, Chad, do we know the volume of sales? Volume of sales on what, Packers? What are we asking? Yes, I know the volume. You just got to ask. I'm trying to give volume of sales as I go through here, but if you got a specific card, let me know, and I will let you know what that is. All right, moving on to the next one. The PSA 10 Murray. Yes, so the PSA 10 Jamal Murray. The PSA 10 Jamal Murray has a pop count of 91, and it with the $136 average for the last year, that was based on 32 sales for the last year. So it sold about 3 times a month in a PSA 10. Hopefully that helps you out, Packers, with that information. All right, next card, raw to grade, we're going to pull up is the 2016 Jaylen Brown Concourse Silver. Now, this card's a little bit tricky, guys, because I don't know where the bottom is going to end after they won the NBA Finals. This card, as you can see right here, spiked all the way up to $70 in raw condition, and it is free falling right now back to $29. The 1 year average is $33.69, call it $34, but that average was brought up quite a bit by the when they won the NBA Finals. So I would say I think there's a very good chance you can get that card in the $30 to $35 range. So here are the numbers on that card. $29. There have been 19 sales of that card in raw condition in the last year. PSA 9 is $83 currently. I expect that number to come down a little bit more as well. However, 29, even if you had to pay $35, $20 to grade it, $55. And let's just say it falls another 10%, and it goes from 83 down to $70. You're still going to turn a profit on a PSA 9. So this card is profitable in a PSA 9. A PSA 10 is currently at $200. Again, I expect that probably to fall closer to $150 by the start of the season. However, that is a nice little 3Xing your money. It does have a 59% gem rate. So that is a nice card to get as it gems very well, and you are making money on both the 9 and the 10. So this is a very nice play that you can make and make some money on. That is what we are here to do, right? Share some secrets and make some money. I guess these aren't secrets because they're online and public for everybody to see, but it's my research that I'm sharing with you guys, so you don't have to. I appreciate you guys following and talking in the community we've created. All right, the next card is 2016, again, Jamal Murray. This is the Prism Mosaic. In 2016, Mosaic was part of the Prism set. It was not a separate set on its own yet. This is the Blue Mosaic. So this card is a little bit more rare. It's only got a pop 36 in the PSA 10, but this card makes a lot of sense to grade, and here is why. As you can see, most recent sale is July 3rd at $17.50. The 1 year average is over on the right. You can see is $14.90. So it's about $15. So with grading fees, you're in this card for about $35. A PSA 9 most recent sale was $48, which is about the 1 year average on that card. So you're gonna make $3 to $5 on a PSA 9. A PSA 10 right now only sells for $58. So why would I recommend this card if you can only double your money on a PSA 10? And that's because the 1 year average on this card was $89. This card is going to go up drastically as the season gets here. So this is a card, maybe you want to buy it already graded in a PSA 10 for that $58 to $60 range, or feel free to grade it, as it does have a 48.6% gem rate. So again, you got a 50% chance. The PSA 9 is also 48%. So you got a 96% chance of making money of some kind on this card. Whether it's a home run or not determines the 9 or the 10. All right, next card up on the docket. We are going to take a look at, I believe this next one should be a Jaylen Brown card. So we are going to be talking about the 2016 Prism Mosaic. This is the Mosaic base. As you can see, the most recent sale of this card was $16.33. Add $20, so you're about $36, $37 to get this card graded. There have been 76 sales of this card in raw condition in the last year. The 1 year average is $26, so it is a little bit below average right now. And I think that is because they are coming, as you can see, the spike downward coming off that NBA championship. The first few weeks after, when this card starts to drop, is the best time to buy Boston Celtics cards before they level back up going into next year. So the next 2 weeks are a very good time to buy Celtics cards if you like Boston Celtics. This card in a PSA 9 currently sells for $68. Again, I expect this card maybe to go down a little bit, as the average of this card was around $50 for the last year. However, at $37, $38, even $40, if the card drops to around that $50 average, you're still at the very least breaking even, maybe making a couple of bucks. In a PSA 10, most recent sale was $150. I expect this to level off probably around $100.25. So this is going to dip a little bit more as well. But if you got $40 invested in it, and you can get at a 53% gem rate or a 43% PSA 9 rate, 96% chance that you are making money on this card. I like those odds, and so should you. So that is another card that you can take a look at adding to your next grading if you can find one. Again, guys, we are going from 2016 down to 2009. There are a lot of plays here, so stick with me, and we will all make some money together. Next week, I will be talking 2017 to the present. So keep in mind, if you do not see the players that are a little more current, it is because I will be covering that in next week's live chat on next Wednesday. All right, so the next card up is another Jaylen Brown rookie card. This is the Revolution Infinite number 107. As you can see, the most recent sale was June 30th for $13.50. So it's about $23, let's call it $25 to get this card. With grading, the 1 year average on this card, as you can see to the right, is $19. So we're going to say $20 plus 20. So you're going to have $40 on average in this card getting it graded. The PSA 9 most recently sold for $65. So you're going to profit on a PSA 9. The PSA 10 most recently sold for $105. So you're going to almost 3x your money on a PSA 10. The PSA 10 has a 40% gem rate. The PSA 9 has a 52% rate. So again, a 92% chance that if you can get this card for $20 or less, you are profiting on this card when you send it to PSA in a bulk submission. I think that Jaylen Brown is a very, very good investment. Even if you're buying graded and you don't want to do the raw to grade, I really like Jaylen Brown heading into next year. He really came into his own in the playoffs, finals MVP, and his cards are quite a bit behind Tatum. So I think there is a lot of room for growth for Jaylen Brown cards heading into this next season. Next card up is 2015 Prism Base. Devin Booker, card number 308. Now, where did we see this card before? This was one of the cards that we talked about earlier that I believe is a great, great buy right now in a PSA 10 around $100, 100, anywhere from $90 to $110. This is a great card. This card should be $150 to $200 come the beginning or early part of the season. But this card works very well in the raw grade, so let's take a look at it if you want to do this instead of buying the PSA 10. This is a cheaper version. As you can see, the most recent sale was yesterday for $35. So you add your grading fees, you're at 55. Let's call it 60. The 1 year average is $45. So even if you did 45 and added the $20, you're at $65 to get this card graded in a bulk submission. PSA 9 most recent sale was $65. So you would be out your eBay fees, 48% chance at a 9. This card does have a 44% gem rate. And the most recent sale, as we said, was $115. However, I expect this card to be at least $140 to $160 by the preseason. And I fully expect at some point in time during the season next year that this card could hit the $200 mark. So I like this play. You're going to essentially double your money if you get a 10. You're going to lose the eBay fees if you get a 9. But that is at the current prices. And with the all-time lows, 4 and 5 year lows on this card, I really like this play, and I think that you should too. All right, moving on. Let's take a look at the next card. Next card up is the 2015 Nikola Jokic, the Joker, his Prism base card. I profited well the last 2 years buying this card in PSA 10 early in the season, in the off season, and selling it during the playoffs. This card has a tendency to get cheap in the off season and spike during the postseason. So this might be closer to a 1 year play than it is a 6 month play. However, as you can see from this graph, there is plenty of spikes up and down on this card, even in raw condition. So the most recent sale of this card was yesterday for $150, which is the 1 year average. The 1 year average. So if you take this $150 and you add your grading fees, so you're at about $1.70, say $1.75. The most recent PSA 9 sold for $168 on July 1st. So again, you're going to be out your eBay fees if this gets a 9. And this does have a 53% chance at a 9. So you're going to lose your eBay fees if it does get a 9. However, guys, if this gets a 10 and it only gems at a 30% rate, so you have a 1 in 3, maybe let's call it a 1 in 4 chance of getting a 10, but that's a pretty good odds to only lose out on your eBay fees on a PSA 9 to take a chance on a PSA 10. The most recent sale on the PSA 10 was $600. If you take a look at the PSA 10, guys, this PSA 10 has a tendency of going for closer to $800 to $900 in the playoffs each of the last 2 years. So I've actually done well targeting this card. I target it for $550 when it's in a PSA 10. You can do that as well. If you can snag an auction or snipe one in that $550 to $575 range, you can skip the whole grading process and you can probably profit a few $100 holding till playoffs time of next year. If you don't want to worry about playoffs and you don't want to worry about them getting hurt and you want to flip it as soon as you get the card back, then do the raw to grade, as there are no the beauty of these raw to grade plays, guys, Performance is not part of the key. You don't need performance. You don't need anything. All you need is the card to come back, and you are profiting on these plays. Let's take a look at the next one. The chat is relatively quiet, so either you guys are taking good notes, or I'm boring you, or maybe basketball isn't your thing, but we're going to keep on rolling here. The next card, again, the Joker, his Don Russ base card. It's a paper card. It's card 215. If you take a look at this card, the most recent sale was $46.67. That tells you it was an auction. That tells you somebody got a great deal on this card. This card, the 1 year average on this card, guys, is $108. If you look over to the right, look at how steep that graph has fallen off on this card. The sale before that was $74. The sale before that was $94. So the last 3 sales have all been for less than the 1 year average, telling me that now, that's why I'm telling you guys now, these next couple of weeks, while everybody is focusing on getting football cards ready for the National, this is your time to shine, guys. Go get some basketball cards. We're in the off season, peak buying season for basketball cards. Buy them now, profit this fall. Follow these plays, guys. Follow them. All right, here we go. So this is what this play looks like. The most recent sale, as I said, was $46, but we're not going to use the most recent sale because every time I say that, people are like, well, I can never get one that cheap. So we're going to use the 1 year average. The 1 year average is double the most recent sale. It was $108. We're going to add a $20 grading fee, so we're at $128. Let's call it $130 to be conservative. The most recent PSA 9 sold for $148 on July 1st. So after eBay fees, you should break even on a PSA 9. There's a 48% chance. However, if you get a PSA 10 and it's a 35.9% gem rate, so 1 out of 3 are going to gem, this card in a PSA 10 sells for $454. You are going to triple or quadruple your investment if this comes back a PSA 10. A paper card is much easier to grade than the glossy cards. I really like this play, guys. I think that I've never done this play, but I am going to be actively searching for a Don Russ. I want to try this play and see how it does. So stay tuned. If I get one, I'll let everybody know how I do. All right, moving on. The next card we're going to talk about is, let's see if we're still in the 2015s. No, we are down to 2013. Strange as this would have it, there is nothing in the 2014 NBA season card-wise to talk about. There's nothing investable. There's nothing worth raw to grade. 2014 basketball sucks. So we're going to skip from 2015 to 2013. This is the select Giannis card, all right? So we talked about his Prism base. PSA 10 is a card that you could go get. Here is his select card. We'll talk about the Prism we're going to talk about next because that too is a raw to grade in addition to the buying it now in a PSA 10. All right. As you can see on the screen, the most recent sale was July 1st for $108. The 1 year average is $137. So 137 and 20 is 157. Let's round up to be safe. Call it $160. $160 investment. If you get a PSA 9, $290 was the most recent sale. How is a nice almost double your money on a PSA 9? This card gets a PSA 9 at 30% of the time. 30% on a PSA 9. Does that mean it has a low PSA 10 or does that mean it has a high PSA 8? The answer is it has a high PSA 10. which is why this might be one of my favorite plays I'm going to share with you guys tonight. PSA 10, 62.3% gem rate on this card. 62%. Add that with the PSA 9, and you've got a 64% or a 94% chance of this card doubling your money. The PSA 10 is $288. I am sorry, I was looking at the wrong one. The PSA 9, you are going to break even. Let's roll this back here. I got too excited. The select card, $108, average $137, add your grading fees, $157 will round up to $160. The PSA 9 sells for $160. You are going to just lose your eBay fees. I got ahead of myself. I thought we were on the Prism. I apologize. The Prism is one of my favorite ones to do. All right. In a PSA 10, $288. I did have the percentages right. It is 30% and 62%. So you have a 92% chance of breaking even or doubling your money on this select card. However, the $288 for a PSA 10 is also a 4-year low. The last time that card got that low was November of 2019. So I fully expect Giannis cards to rise and rise quickly between now and the beginning of the season. All right, now we are on the Giannis Prism. I apologize, guys. I got ahead of myself. That's what happens when I do this with the screen instead of my notes. I don't like making mistakes, but that's okay. That just shows that I'm human. Packer says, what I like about the Select is the lower pop counts. Yes, the pop count of the PSA 10 Select base is 1,604 compared to the Prism, which is 3,064. So it is almost 1/3 the pop count. You are correct on that, Packers. Alrighty, so now we are on the Prism card. And since I did this, holy cow, one sold yesterday. So this is gonna change everything a little bit. The most recent sale I had on here was from June 30th, and that was at $200. Now the most recent sale, as you can see, was yesterday for $275. So that's a $70 difference in a matter of 2 days. So this, as you can see, has been jumping around up and down. So be careful with buying this card in raw condition. You want to try and get a good deal on it if you are going to make this play work. In a PSA 9, this card most recently sold for $290. So if you paid the $275 and a grading fee, you're going to be out about $20 if it gets a PSA 9. However, as you can see, the $275 is about $10 higher than the 1-year average. I would target this card at around $225 to $250 if I'm going to try to do the raw to grade. Otherwise, I would just go spend the money, get the PSA 10, and you should profit a couple $100 on that card this year as well, as long as he can stay healthy. All right, in a PSA 10, this card goes for $565, which we already covered. It is about the lowest it's been in 3 years. There was one sale for $497 back on May 1st. Prior to that, it was 2019 when this card last went under $600. So that is a play that I like. The PSA, it does gem at 59% though, guys. So if you can find a nice one, 59%, 59.9, almost a 60% chance to double your money from raw to PSA 10. And I have done this play. I've done this twice. Both of the raw Prism bases that I bought, both gemmed. So I am 2 for 2 on this play, going raw to PSA 10. So I'm part of that 60%. Packers is saying just buy the 10. yeah, either one. I think both are good plays, and I think you make money no matter what you do if you are hunting down that card. All right, next one we're going to talk about. We are going to stay on the Giannis train. Here comes the hoops card. Spoiler alert. This is not the red back that we talked about before. This is the base card that everybody I've talked about. Oh, no, we're going to skip the hoops card and we're going to go right to the prestige card. Well, the hoops card is on my list as well. So the prestige card is card number 175. As you can see, the most recent sale was $25. There have been 475 sales of this card in raw condition. You can see all the dots. This graph, this card sells a lot in raw condition. You take the $25, you add the 20, you're at 45, call it $50. A PSA 9 most recently sold for 60, and there's a 50% chance of a PSA 9. So you're going to break even on a PSA 9. The PSA 10 on this card is $185, which again is about a 3-year low. However, I don't see it going below that, much below that 185, 175 to 185. So if you could have even $60 to $75 invested in one and you can get a PSA 10, it's a nice almost triple your money type play. It does gem at 30%. So yes, Packers is saying these cards are hard to gem. They do have the black borders, so you do have to find a pack fresh card. If it is not a pack fresh card, I would not buy it. As with those black borders, they are very hard to gem, but it does gem at a 30% rate. So just be careful when you are taking a look at that card. Almost impossible. I wouldn't say almost impossible. If you can find a nice pack fresh card, they do all right, Packers. It's not as difficult as that, but yes, black border. Anytime you do a black border, it's hard. All right, we're gonna stay on the Giannis train. I'm wondering if I skipped the market mover, so I'm gonna cover the hoops, and if we get to hoops, I will just breeze past it. But all right, so I'm going to do this. I'm going to remove this one for just so people don't get confused. I'm going to take that off the screen. We're going to talk about the hoops card. So the NBA hoops base card, card number 275. The most recent sale was $31 in raw condition, 285 sales, so almost one per day. However, the 1-year average on that card is $70. So it's about half the 1-year average. It has been down and going down and down and down. So that 1-year average is being propped up by the early season sales. I would say the 60-day average is probably closer to 45 to $50. If you can find that card for $50 or less, go ahead and buy it. $20, you'll have $70 to $75 invested in it. A PSA 9 sells for $76. Most recent sale, which was yesterday, $76. It's a 37% chance at a PSA 9. This card does gem well. It has a 50.2% gem rate. The most recent sale was $189 on July 1st. This card, if you look at a PSA 10, guys, you could buy and sell this card alone probably for the next year and not have to buy any other cards. This card has been spiking. It's gone as low as $172 and it's gone as high as $264 in the last 30 days. So this card is jumping up and down, about a $75 jump up and down in the last 30 days. So go ahead and buy this card in a PSA 10 if you can get it. Snipe it at that low price, sell it at the high price, and you may not have to do the raw to grade. So that is the NBA hoops card. Now we're going to talk about the Panini card. So what we're going to do here, let me get to here we go. So this card is a 2013. Again, it's got black borders, so be careful. The most recent sale was $18. The 1 year average of this card is $45. So what you're seeing on Giannis right now is the current prices are almost half of what the 1 year average is. So now is a tremendous time to be stocking up on Giannis, as his prices are extremely cheap. So right now, currently $20. The 30-day average is $30, so I'm going to use that. 30 and 20, you got $50 invested. A PSA 9 most recently sold for 85. So even if you had to use the 1 year average of 45 and have 65 in it, you're still profiting on a PSA 9. The PSA 10 last sold for 155, so you're going to triple your money. However, this card, even more so than the Prestige base, this card only has a 15% gem rate. So in this card, the good news is you're profiting about $25 on a PSA 9. So that might be good enough profit margin for you guys to take the chance at getting one of the 15 percenters. Otherwise, you might just want to buy this card at a PSA 10 of around $150, as the 1 year average of that card was $225. So right now it's $75 below the 1 year average. So that might be another PSA 10 card that you can just go buy now and not have to worry about the raw to grade. All right, moving on. Next card we are going to talk about is, I believe we've got about 9 cards left here for those that are interested in how far we got to go. All right, the next card up this is not a rookie card, guys. This card surprised me when I did my research, but it made the list. 2013 Prism base, card number 65, LeBron James. I am high on LeBron James right now with his son Bronny entering the league, even though I think Bronny is a bum and does not belong in the NBA. That's a whole different conversation. There's going to be a lot of talk around the Lakers, a lot of talk around father and son, and talk creates hype. Hype creates awareness. Awareness creates people going out and looking and buying cards and raising card values. So I fully expect LeBron James, all LeBron James cards, doesn't matter what they are. I expect all LeBron James cards to get a bump between now and the beginning of the next season. And if they can make a deep playoff run, I really expect his cards to bump up with his son, be the first ever father-son duo playing in the NBA. That in and of itself is pretty cool. Plus, if you buy LeBron and his cards do dip, hang on to him, because within the next 2 to 3 years, he's going to retire. And upon retirement, you're going to see his cards spike. So I see very little risk in buying anything LeBron. And even though I am on Camp MJ for the greatest of all time, LeBron James, it's hard to argue his longevity as well as his talent. So, all right. That was kind of a long-winded thing, but let's get into the play here. 2013 Prism base, most recent sale, $7.50. The 1 year average is $10, so let's use that. $10 plus $20, you got $30 invested. The most recent PSA 9 sold for $38. So after eBay fees, you wash even on a PSA 9, which is 39% of the time. A PSA 10, most recent sale was $85. So you can about triple your money on a PSA 10 on a 10th year LeBron James card, which I think is pretty cool. His early Prism cards do sell well. It does have a good gem rate too. It's 56% gem rate. Pop 858. So this is a card that you can go and get a pretty good chance at getting a PSA 10 and making some money on LeBron. We are going to stick on the LeBron train, and we are going to do another LeBron card. I did not go all the way back to 2003. I only went back to 2009. However, there is a 2012 LeBron, again, first year of Prism, so first year of a Prism LeBron. This is his base card. It's card number 1 of the set. Most recent sale was $65.50. The 1 year average is $54.40. So it's a little bit higher than the 1 year average. So let's use the higher of the two. $66 will round up. $20. You got $86 invested in this card to get it graded. $96 is the most recent PSA 10. So you are covering your fees. It is a break even at 51% on a PSA 9. If you get a PSA 10, this card sells for $208 as a first year Prism LeBron is a very collectible item for LeBron collectors. So 32% chance. You got a 1 in 3 chance at quadrupling your money or tripling your money after fees. You have a 50% chance of breaking even on this play. And I love me some LeBron right now this year. I believe this is a great time to be buying LeBron. His prices are down a little bit. And I think that with the hype with his son, you are going to see LeBron prices rise this year. Next card up on the docket is 2012 Past and Present. This was an insert card. This is not a base card. Well, it's a base card, but it was an insert base card. It's a past and present base card number 160 of Kyrie Irving. Normally, these are cards that I don't even look at, but I was intrigued at the money that can be made on this card. As you can see, the most recent sale was $3.35. The 1 year average is $6.72. So if you take a 1 year average, round up to $7, add 20 for your grading fees. So let's really be cautious and say $30. You will be in this card for $30 graded. A PSA 9 sells for $45. So you're making about $7 to $8 on a PSA 9 after eBay fees. It only has a 21% chance of a PSA 9 because the PSA 10 gem rate is so high. A PSA 10 sells for $95. So you are literally 3xing your money on an initial $4 to $6 investment card on a PSA 10. This card at $95 in a PSA 10, 72% gem rate, guys. So you've got a 94% chance at a 9 or a 10. You're going to turn a profit at a 9. So I don't see any downside to this card at all, even being a insert card. I really like this as being an economical, for those that don't have a ton of money and want to start flipping some money without a huge investment. This is a great play for those that want to do that. Not a lot of investment with a pretty good return, especially if you can get yourself a couple of 10s. If you buy that card in bulk, buy 5 or 10 of them, you could really increase your portfolio profits very quickly. Next up is the 2012 NBA Hoops, Kyrie Irving. Again, I believe the Mavericks are going to make another run next year, so Kyrie's cards are going to be very relevant. Most recent sale on this card, here's another one. Most recent sale is $1.84. The 1 year average is $7. So 7 and 20 is 27. Let's round up to $30. The most recent PSA 9 sold for $39. So you're busting even on a PSA 9 at 44% chance. PSA 10 is $76. So you're going to triple your money on an initial $2 to $5, $2 to $7 card. Triple your money after eBay fees and your grading fees, $76. You got a 40% chance at a PSA 10. You're looking at an 85% chance of a 9 or a 10. So again, another very low cost, low dollar investment. For those that are looking to get into flipping, they don't want to spend a lot of money. They have a very low budget. Go buy 5 Kyrie Irving NBA hoops at $2 to $7 a piece. Do 5 Kyrie Irving past and presents at $5 to $7 a piece. Send them into eBay and just watch what happens. Hopefully you get some good ones. You should end up with anywhere out of 10 cards, anywhere from 3 to 7 PSA 10s. You are going to quickly increase your portfolio without a lot of investment. So that is a low buck way to start building some money if you don't have much of a pocketbook to start out in this game. Because this, guys, grading fees, shipping, this does get expensive, especially when you start looking at some higher dollar cards, but it's just so much dang fun. I think we've got 6 or 7 cards left. We are approaching the finish line. Everything that's left now, guys, are 2009. Again, 2009 was a very good year. You've got Steph Curry, Jrue Holiday, James Harden, and spoiler, there will be a Kobe Bryant card in here as well. So 2009, Steph Curry. Guys, Steph Curry cards are so cheap right now compared to what they've been the last 5 years. I believe that Curry, just like LeBron, now is a great time. If you're looking at some long-term holds, these are some short-term flips you can do. But if you want to stock up on some Steph Curry for some longer-term holds, maybe you collect cards and you're not just a flipper, right now is a great time to go get some Steph Curry cards. But we're not going to talk about collecting. We're going to talk about flipping because we want to make some money and we want to make it quick, right? All right, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to go buy 2009 Panini 372 base card of Steph Curry. The most recent sale was $109. As you can see, there were 88 sales of this card in the last year. This card, believe it or not, at the last sale is up. Prior to that, it was down. The 1 year average is $74. So if you took this card, even at the highest point, which is what it is now at 110, add your grading fee for 130, you will break even on a PSA 9, less your eBay fees, because the most recent PSA 9 was $130. 41% chance at getting a PSA 9. There's a 40% chance at a PSA 10, and this card jumps up to $325. So basically, you're going to triple your money on a PSA 10. You have a 40% chance at getting a Steph Curry rookie card in a PSA 10, which the problem with that is if you get a Steph Curry in a PSA 10, you may not want to sell it because it's such an iconic card, getting a Steph Curry rookie card. All right, moving on to the next card on the docket. Next card up is Steph Curry 2009 Upper Deck base card number 234. This card, as you can see, on June 30th, sold for $51.76. So obviously it was an auction. The 1 year average on this card is $107. So we are going to use, as I've been doing through this whole video, we will use the higher of the two. So the 1 year average of $107, $20 grading fee, you'll have $127, call it $130 invested in this card. This card at a PSA 9 is $111, so you are going to lose about $30. This might be the biggest loser of the night in a PSA 9. You will lose about $30 in a PSA 9, 38% chance. If it gets a PSA 10, however, $376. It's a 30% chance, so 1 in 3 chance of taking a investment and almost 4xing your money. So again, anytime you can have a chance at a Steph Curry rookie card, I'm all for it. All right, next card up on the docket is we are going to take a look at James Harden rookie card, 2009 Topps. Most recent sale in raw condition, $14.50 yesterday. The 1 year average is $20.67. So $21 is what you're looking at with the $20 grading fees. You're in this card. $41, let's call it $45 to be conservative, because I want you guys to make money. On a PSA 9, most recent sale was $46. I'm sorry. The sales count to this was 148. You can see that on your screen. So 148 times this card sold in raw condition in the last year. A PSA 9, $46. So you are basically going to lose your eBay fees if you get a 9. If you get a 10, you 4x your money. It's $203, the most recent sale. However, it's only a pop 214, and it's only a 7% gem rate. This is a card I would be very careful with, because you're going to lose on a PSA 9 your eBay fees, and you are only having a 7% chance of a PSA 10. But because it was a James Harden rookie card, I wanted to make you guys aware that you could go out and get this. But this is going to be one of the toughest plays that I've mentioned tonight. But I didn't want to leave James Harden out when talking about 2009 raw to grade. It just seemed like it wasn't a good idea to leave James Harden out. Even though I'm not a big James Harden fan, he is certainly a worthy player and worthy to get his cards and flip them. All right, next on the docket is, again, 2009 Upper Deck, only this has the logo on the left-hand side of the card. It says first edition. It has a different card number. This is card number 196 versus the Upper Deck card, which was card 234. So it's a totally different card, but it does have the first edition on it. PS card raw, $95. Xavier and Lorelai. PS, so raw, $95 on July 2nd. The 1 year average is $98. So it's essentially at its average. $20 grading fees, so $115, call it $120 roughly. PSA 9, most recent sale is $139. So you're going to, about bust even, maybe make $5 on a PSA 9. 46% chance at a PSA 9. PSA 10, $405. So you're going to 4x your money. There is a 30% chance on this card of the first edition, 30% chance of a PSA 10. I like those odds. 76% chance of making $5 to 4xing your money. This might be the best play if you wanted to go after a Steph Curry rookie that I was able to find without a ton of risk involved. All right, I think we've got 4 cards to go. 2 Currys, a Holiday, and a Kobe. If this is going in the order I think it is, I think we're going to finish up with the Kobe. All right, let's see here. Next up should be another Steph Curry. Yep. All right, this is the iconic 2009 Topps, card number 321. This card is hard to grade. So I'm going to give you a whole bunch of different things. So bear with me on this card. We're going to spend a little bit more time on this card because I absolutely love this card. I do not own this card. I will own this card within the next 30 days. I guarantee it. Card 321. The most recent sale is $492 on July 1st. the 1 year average is $562. If you see that $492 card jumped up, the two sales before that were $305 and $313. So here is the deal, guys. If you get a PSA 7, I'm going all the way down to a 7 because $500 investment, I want to get you somewhat close to breaking even. A PSA 7 most recent sale was $475. So if you have to pay the 1 year average, you could be out $100. If you got the most recent sale, you would be out about $40. However, if you could be one of these sales down closer to the low 300s, you could actually profit on a PSA 7. So this is completely dependent upon, are you buying it towards the lower end or are you buying it towards the higher end? A PSA 8, regardless of what you end up paying, a PSA 8 sells, most recent sale was $610. So even if you have to pay the 1 year average with the grading fees, you are essentially going to bust even on a PSA 8. There's a 31% chance of an 8. There's an 11.6% chance of a 7. If you get a PSA 9 in this card, and this is really what we're going for, I don't believe that you buy this card and grade it and hope for a 10. You would have to find a pack fresh card. Chances of doing that are slim to none because it's such an iconic card. I believe you can find some of the off-brand ones and you could maybe pull a 10, but you're not, the odds of finding a tops and pulling a 10 is going to be pretty slim. But a PSA 9 most recently sold for $1,003. So you're going to double your money on a 9. You're going to break even on an 8. It's also a 30% chance at a 9. So 31% chance of an 8, 30% chance of a 9. You got a 60% chance of breaking even or making money. That's a pretty decent odds on a card that is this old. If by some miracle you get a PSA 10, $4,110 is the most recent sale. That has a 7% gem rate, and it's a pop 372. If you go after this, you are going after, in my opinion, the PSA 9. It is not realistic to think that you're going to get a PSA 10 on that card. I would be perfectly happy with doubling my money, going from $500 to $1,000 if I could get a PSA 9. So hopefully you are as well. That might be a little bit too big of a dollar for many of you to play in. So maybe you just stay away from that altogether. But I wanted to make it aware that it is a play that can be had. All right, 3 plays to go. The last Steph Curry card we're going to talk about. This one, again, has a lot of black borders, so it's a little bit more difficult to grade. But it is the 2009 Panini base card, $357. Most recent sale was $98 on July 2nd. The 1 year average is $113. Take the 1 year average, add $20, you're at about $135. A PSA 9 sells for $151. So you're going to break even on a PSA 9. That is a 62% chance of a 9. So you got a 60% chance of breaking even. A PSA 10, 12% chance. It's only pop 169. But because it's a little bit higher, harder to pop, a PSA 10, it jumps all the way up to $815. A nice 7x of your money. So you can still find people that are breaking open 2009 product. So find a nice packed fresh card at a show. Go get yourself a 10 and 7x your money. That's not one I would be buying off of eBay. I would want to see that in person. And I would be looking for somebody that breaks a lot of packages, rips a lot of wax, and recently ripped one, and you could get a packed fresh card. All right, 2 plays to go. Next play is going to be looking at a Jrue Holiday. For those that are wondering, He is now a two-time NBA champion, one with the Milwaukee Bucks, one with the Boston Celtics. He was the difference. He was what Boston was lacking. He is, I think, the reason why they won the NBA championship. I don't think it was Tatum or Jaylen Brown. I personally think Jrue Holiday should have been Finals MVP. His ability to lock down players, score when he needed to, score in the paint. He is just an incredible player. I think the Bucks made a mistake getting rid of him for Damian Lillard. I said that when it happened. I'm still saying it. So until Lillard wins me a championship in Milwaukee, I am going to stick by my statement that Jrue Holiday was a better fit for the Milwaukee Bucks with the style offense they play with Giannis than Damian Lillard. Lillard is obviously a better player, a better scorer. However, for the Bucks, Holiday fit better. Holiday does not sell for a lot of money. 2009 Topps base card 330, $7.88, the most recent sale. The average is $7.92, so it's an $8 card on average. Spend your $20 grading fee, you got $28, let's call it $30 invested. PSA 9 most recently sold for $42. So you are profiting about $5 after eBay fees on a PSA 9. PSA 10 is a $203 or a 4x your money. However, it does not gem very easily. It only has a 4% gem rate. There are only 7. It's a pop 7 card. But there are only 180 of these cards graded. So they're just not a lot of people are grading Jrue Holiday. So I think there's a good chance that you could find a very nice Jrue Holiday again in person. I wouldn't do it on eBay. But I think there are plenty of Jrue Holiday cards that could gem. Nobody's sending the cards in because nobody grades Jrue Holiday. All right, the last card we are going to focus on tonight, and then we are going to wrap this up. Let's see here. All right, the next and last card that we have is a Kobe Bryant. It, again, just like LeBron we talked about earlier, this is a first-year Prism Kobe Bryant. That's why it is collectible for Kobe Bryant investors. This card raw sold for $6.56. 1 year average is $6.65. So $7 is essentially what you would have to pay for this card. $20 grading fee. So you'll have $30 invested in this card. PSA 9 most recent sale was $45 on June 29th. So again, you're going to break even, maybe make $5 on a PSA 9. The PSA 10 sells for $84. So you're going to be able to triple your money on a PSA 10. This, again, is a low percentage. However, it is a pop 9 PSA 10. It only gems at 3.5%. But the good news is the PSA 9s, which the majority of them get PSA 9s, you are still profiting because it's such a low investment. So, all right, guys, I hope you enjoyed those plays. If you've got any questions, let me know. I have a couple of people that have asked me also for if I would do a PSA card reveal. I talk about grading a lot of cards a lot of times, but I very rarely show you guys any of my reveals. So I just had some grades pop. So I'm going to finish this off with my most recent submission here. Let me see if I can pull this up for you guys. Hope you guys enjoy this. All right, let's pull this up. So here is my PSA order. So I just got this back. Got it in the mail yesterday. Have not opened the package up yet. but this was, I bought 5 of the 2024 Topps Now draft night cards. And so I got, as you can see, all 5 Gem Mint 10 Drake May Topps Now cards. I also did 5 Jaden Daniels. And spoiler alert, all 5 Jaden Daniels cards came back Gem Mint 10s. And I also did 5 Caleb Williams, and all 5 Caleb Williams came back Gem Mint 10s. This is why I love Topps Now versus Panini Instant. I am running on Topps Now, I am running a 98% gem rate on all the cards that I have graded since I've been grading cards. Panini Instant, I am running a little over 50%. So I love Topps Now plays. You just can't do all Topps Now cards, even though they get a lot of gem 10s, because if they aren't desirable, what are you doing? All right, I got a Dameon Pierce variation contenders rookie ticket auto. Came back a Gem Mint 10. I got a contenders rookie ticket auto Breece Hall auto. Came back Gem Mint 10. I got a Rashee Rice rookie patch auto. I took a chance on a low serial numbered rookie patch auto of Rashee Rice. I got it super cheap because of all of his troubles, thinking that he is going to play. I was hoping for a 9 because patch autos are difficult to get 10s, so I'm very happy that that got a 9. I also got a Phoenix Tua Fireburst. This one I was disappointed in. I really thought that was a 10. Came back a 9. I got a these were very disappointing. I've got Walker Jenkins. I ripped open some 2024 Bowman product, and I got I graded all of my Walker Jenkins first. The paper prospect ones for sure should have been a 10. That got a 9. Gonna lose money on that card. The next paper prospect, I got a 9. Gonna lose money on that card. The Chrome first got a 10. That one I'm going to profit well on. However, the next 3 all got PSA 9s. So the 110 will bust me even on the 4 9s, but I'm going to lose money on the 2 paper 9s. So only 1 out of 6 Walker Jenkins firsts came back PSA 10s. That was very disappointing. And then the last card in the order was a Bowman Scouts Top 100 Walker Jenkins, and that got a 10. So all told, pretty good reveal. Should be able to profit pretty well on that order. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Packers, I just got killed on a recent vintage PSA order. I think I ran into a harder grader. Yeah. The grader's notes, if you pay, so if you go up and you pay the higher dollar, the $75 on the vintage cards, you will get grader's notes so you know why they graded it, what they graded. But vintage are so hard to grade. A card, when I started grading cards, 30 years ago, a card that would grade a PSA 10 30 years ago, that same card today, I think, honestly, would probably get a PSA 5 or 6. It is so hard to get a PSA, even a 7 on a vintage card is almost impossible. It's got to be an impeccable card. So vintage cards are tough, but they are fun to get slabbed. You can still make some money on them, and if nothing else, it preserves the card. So hope you guys enjoyed this. Everybody have a happy 4th of July, and I will see you back next week with 2017 to current basketball. Have a great 4th, everybody. Good night.